It can be really hard to figure out who's good at what and why, right? Whether it's a parent or a teacher or a doctor. And the reason it's hard to figure out is because how do you measure it? What are the outcomes used to measure it? And is there a control group and, all this stuff? So one thing that especially these days, really very much these days, that people really want to know about are doctors and how to find a good doctor, but how to measure a good doctor. And here's part of the problem is, what do you measure by? If you measure by outcome, well, there aren't all these outcomes that are available to us, but death is a really good one, for instance, right? Because that's very final and specific. And the problem is, if you measure doctors by the outcomes that they produce, you might think that the doctor gets 1,000 patients and only 10 die is really good compared to the one who gets 1,000 patients and 150 die. The only problem is the populations of patients may be entirely different. And the people who go to that doctor with the higher death rate may be an entirely different set of people who have much worse problems or much further along in their illnesses and so on. So what you get are these doctor report cards that are meant to symbolize how good a doctor is. And what it really represents in large part is what kind of patients that doctor got. And so whenever you set out to measure anything, you have to be really careful that you're measuring what the person is doing and how good they are at it, as opposed to what kind of population they're dealing with. So if you measure a certain teacher at an inner city school who gets all these kids who are reading 3 grades below grade level, and she gets an improvement of 15%. And then there's somebody else, another teacher in a suburban district, who gets a entirely different set of kids and improves them by 20%. Does that mean that the one in the suburban school is the better teacher? Really hard to say unless you know a lot about the characteristics of the people that they're dealing with.